Hey guys, I'm going to go ahead and jump right into discussion two. So for the Office of Juvenile Justice and Delinquency website, I kind of wanted to research some of the statistics of teen arrests and also the different types of reasons why they were arrested, the crimes that they had committed. So I wanted to tie that back into the book. The book emphasizes on disproportionality. On page 40, the authors talk about only 6% of the population is made up by teens. And then you can definitely see the disproportionality in the percentages where violent crimes are committed. So 11% of teens are responsible for violent crimes, and then 19% are responsible for property crimes. And so we can definitely see the disproportionality if only 6% of the population is teens, and then we see that big number within the arrest rates. Something I wanted to definitely include from the podcast was Z's story. We see, like his story. He was the first time he states that he was arrested was when he was about 12, and it was for selling candy, and thereafter getting in a fight over money. So I think definitely being aware that most of these arrests are for petty offenses is something that throughout I was able to notice. We need to realize that these um, or teens are definitely being arrested for more often than not petty crimes. And the website definitely reiterates that. I was able to find the chart, estimated number of juvenile arrests in 2018, and it shows the greater number of juvenile arrests were for offenses that, you would um, predict for teens to commit, things like simple assault, um, let's see, vandalism. Although they are committing a crime, it's more something that, we don't really see that often in adults, whereas adults are definitely more aggravated. Um, Assaults, definitely more aggravated crimes. Something that definitely caught my eye within the book and within the website was the number of drug abuse violations. And on the first page of chapter 2, I believe page 34, under the Uniform Crimes Reports, the authors include that teens are more likely to be arrested or to commit crimes having to do with illicit drugs. They definitely tend to abuse drugs more. So that's something that kind of caught my eye. And then something interesting I thought about the podcast also was when Dwayne, the other character, started talking about his own story. When he was 16, he jacked a car, and it was at gunpoint. Later on, he goes to reveal that that was the first time he had ever held a gun. That was the first time he had possessed a gun, pointed it at somebody. And thereafter, once he was arrested for it, during hearing and you know, um, court situations. He was definitely treated as an adult, and they never really brought into consideration that this was his first offense. This was the first time he had ever held a gun. This was the first time, he had done something like this. And that definitely we see um, the still reiterating the fact back to chapter 1 actually, that we are treating juveniles like adults even though they shouldn't be, and the criminal justice system still definitely treats teens and adolescents like adults within the system itself. Something else I really thought was interesting that connects the podcast to the book was, let's see, on page 46 of the book, the authors begin to talk about race and what race plays a role within the teen arrests. They describe that the ratio for white children to black children is 4-1, so definitely there is more white children within the population. But then they also state that half of the juvenile arrests are of the African American race. So we can again see that disproportionality within the um, within teens themselves, race definitely plays a big part in that. So Dwayne starts talking about a key component, a key concept that he calls school to prison pipeline. And I thought that was very important that he had brought up because, again, it goes back to the whole race thing. African American children are definitely more susceptible to being, arrested or within the DOC, within the justice system. Um, again, because of the statistics. So yeah, I thought that was very interesting, and that is my video. Thanks.